We know that on exposure to air, silage can begin to break down, resulting in heating and losses. And that's our topic of discussion with Jaco Farsen from Nutribase today. Jaco, what causes this?
Yes, so aerobic spoilage is initiated mainly by yeast, which can grow using a variety of different substances, particularly sugars and lactic acid. So the problem is that yeast are capable of growing at a pH of 3.5, which is well below the pH of most silages. And after the initial yeast activity, molds will start to grow. Mold is able to grow even on a wider range of substances, so aerobic spoilage will then simply just accelerate.
Which forages are at risk of aerobic spoilage?
Yeah, so during ensiling process, crops that are cut usually at a high dry matter content will be more difficult to effectively remove the oxygen from that bunker. So the compaction process is more difficult. Your main risk exposure will usually be at the feed out process. Silages tend to be more susceptible to aerobic spoilage during warmer weather. Slow feed out of silage from the feeding phase is probably one of the most important factors influencing aerobic spoilage. Excessive disturbances of the phase during removal of that silage will increase air penetration, which will increase the spoilage rate. And some mechanical processes of silage in the feeding wagon or mixer wagon increases that aeration, and that increases the aerobic spoilage.
What are the major influences?
So we know in the presence of oxygen, yeast breaks down sugars and lactic acid in the silage, which will, of course, raise the pH level. We know then this will allow the yeast and the molds to grow. So the consequence of this is that they generate, this yeast and molds will generate heat and carbon dioxide, resulting in high dry matter losses, of course. It will reduce the palatability, even the nutritional value of that silage, and it will also increase the mycotoxin risk.
So how can the aerobic spoilage be minimized?
Yes, so there's a number of important factors that we can look at, and I would like to summarize some of these important factors that will give the farmer the best chance to avoid this aerobic spoilage. So first of all, the crop that he cuts, he mustn't cut too dry. Too dry silage will simply be a more difficult silage to install to get the air out of that silage. So compaction is difficult. One can look at the cutting length of that plant. So shorter, clean cuts of the silage will give a better chance of good compaction. Of course, the use of a well-proven silage inoculant like EcoCool will inhibit your spoilage microorganisms and provide maximum aerobic stability at your feed out. Also, the effective elimination of oxygen by good compaction. Very important to have good compaction on that bunkers. Effective sealing of the bunkers just as important to keep the air out. Also for the farmer to inspect and make sure there's no holes that will get oxygen back into that bunker. And I think lastly, one of the most important ones, again, good phase management is absolutely critical.
Jaco Farsen from Nutribase with advice on aerobic spoilage and how to minimize it.